The Detroit Lions came into Week 1 of the 2024 NFL season with high hopes, and they sure lived up to the hype with an impressive 6-point victory over the Rams. This game had a special significance. Consider it a revenge match. The Detroit players, who had a tough loss in the NFC Championship game last year, were eager to show they've grown stronger. They had a great offseason, adding new talent, but you never know how things will play out with all the changes. In this video, I'll break down the game, highlighting both the good and the bad, and take a closer look at individual performances. But first, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that like button and subscribe. It only takes a few seconds and you can always change your mind. We're on the road to 40,000 subscribers, and with your support, I believe we can get there quickly. All right, let's dive into the game recap. The Rams got on the board first. Matthew Stafford used up some early clock to drive his team downfield, but they had to settle for a 41-yard field goal by Carty, making it 3-0. This score held steady through the rest of the first quarter. Early in the second quarter, Jared Goff made some nice passes to St. Brown and Laporta, but couldn't get the ball into the end zone, leading to another field goal that tied the game at 3. Midway through the second quarter, we saw the Jahmyr Gibbs show. He was all over the field, catching passes and making plays. He managed to score a touchdown, putting the Lions ahead 10-3. The score stayed the same after a solid defensive stand by the Lions. In the third quarter, things heated up even more when Goff threw a 55-yard bomb caught by Jameson Williams for an exciting touchdown, making it 17-3. The Rams quickly responded with some big plays from Matthew Stafford. They ended the drive with a touchdown run by Karen Williams, narrowing the gap. In the fourth quarter, Stafford connected with Tyler Johnson for a huge 63-yard gain, putting the Lions in a strong position. However, the Rams' defense held firm, limiting Detroit to just a field goal. With 12:32 left in the game, the Lions had a 4-point lead and the ball. But then, Goff threw an interception intended for John Johnson, which shifted the momentum dramatically. The Rams had a long way to go, starting from their own 20-yard line. Stafford led them downfield with key passes to Kupp, Parkinson, Johnson, and Robinson. A 20-yard catch by Kupp helped them cross midfield, and eventually, Kupp caught a touchdown pass to put the Rams ahead by 3 with 4:35 left. What a turnaround. But the Lions, led by coach Dan Campbell, weren't ready to give up. They managed to drive downfield and get into field goal range. Bates nailed a 32-yard field goal to tie the game and send it into overtime. I really dislike that a coin flip still determines the outcome of games in 2024, even if it's just the regular season. It's really frustrating how the overtime rules can seem so unfair, especially given the big advantage offenses have over defenses these days. But for the Lions, they made the most of their chance. They got the ball first in overtime, and, with a steady drive down the field, Montgomery scored a 1-yard touchdown to seal the win. Despite the issues with the overtime rules, it was a thrilling and entertaining first Sunday night game of the year. Both the Rams and Lions look set for great seasons. Good football teams find a way to win, even when they're not playing their best, and that's exactly what the Detroit Lions did. Here's what some of the players said after the game. "I think the theme tonight was that we kept making mistakes, especially on offense," said one player. "We had some plays we could have made, and I need to improve my cadence and be smoother with our operations. Those changes would fix a lot of our issues. It wasn't our smoothest game, but a win is a win. It's the first game, and we need to focus on basics: blocking, tackling, communication, and ball security. The teams that do that best come out on top." Lions head coach Dan Campbell also shared his thoughts. "There are definitely things to improve on. This was the first time in a while that many of these guys have played this intensely for this long. It's a learning experience, and we'll get better. We'll find a better flow on both sides of the ball." Looking at some stats, Jared Goff threw for 217 yards and 1 touchdown, but he also had an interception. Montgomery led the rushing game with 91 yards and the game-winning touchdown. Gibbs also had a solid performance with 40 rushing yards and a touchdown. Jameson Williams was exceptional, leading with 121 yards and a touchdown from 5 receptions. Sam Laporta added 45 yards from 4 catches, and kicker Jake Bates was perfect with 2 field goals. Switching to defense, the Lions showed a mix of strengths and areas for improvement. They did well generating pressure on Stafford, with the front 7 causing disruption throughout the game. Aiden Hutchinson stood out with his first sack of the season and consistent pressure on the Rams' offense. Marcus Davenport also played a key role, and together they managed 8 quarterback hits. This pressure was crucial in limiting Stafford's rhythm, especially in the first half. The Lions' run defense also looked promising early in the game, led by linebacker Alex Anzalone, who had 13 tackles and set the tone with a hard hit on Williams. The front 7 effectively stopped the Rams' ground game for most of the contest, forcing them to rely more on passing, which played into the Lions' strength of pressuring the quarterback, even though they didn't rack up many actual sacks. However, the Lions' secondary was a weak spot in their defensive performance. While safety Kirby Joseph made a crucial end zone interception that shifted the momentum, the overall coverage and tackling from the defensive backs were inconsistent. Cooper Kupp took advantage of these gaps, finishing with an impressive 14 receptions for 110 yards and a touchdown. This highlighted the need for better coverage skills and communication in the secondary. Rookie cornerback Terrion Arnold struggled in his debut, committing 2 costly pass interference penalties that directly led to Rams points. These errors underscored the challenges young players face when adjusting to the professional level. These mistakes in the secondary kept the Rams in the game and eventually forced overtime, despite the strong play from the Lions' front 7. From a strategic perspective, the Lions used a balanced approach, mixing zone and man coverage concepts. Their ability to generate pressure with the front 4 allowed them to drop more players into coverage, which worked at times. However, as the game went on, the Rams found ways to exploit the zones, particularly with short and intermediate passes that resulted in significant yards after the catch. Looking ahead, the Lions' defense needs to improve its pass coverage, especially against top-tier receivers. Better communication and tackling techniques in the secondary should be a priority. Additionally, while the pass rush was effective, maintaining this pressure throughout all 4 quarters will be crucial in future games. If the Lions can address these areas while building on the strengths shown by their front 7, they have the potential to become a more well-rounded and formidable defensive unit as the season progresses. Overall, Week 1 was a solid performance for the Lions. Yes, there are areas to work on, but starting the season with a big win over a team like the Rams is exactly what you want. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for sticking with me to the end. If you enjoyed it and haven't yet, please drop a like and subscribe. Your support really means a lot. Also, let me know what you'd like to see next. Until then, see you later.